Okay, so yeah, the second tool that we'll use today is a database. So this is called Turso. It's basically a cloud database, and usually when you build application, you want to store data somewhere, and you can have it hosted locally, or you can use a cloud database. Sorry, Chris? Okay. Yeah. So you can have it. I think this is free. I have an account here with them. I'm not sure how many database you can create, but you can always set up an account here. Uh, if you don't want to do that, we also could use SQLite when we're developing locally. We can use SQLite database, which is also a free database. Um, that you can use for most small applications. So it's usually just built as part of your application, so you don't need any extra database. So this is it's mostly the same as Torso, so it can be switched for one can be switched for the other. If you're developing locally, you could use SQLite, and when you deploy to production, you can switch to Torso. Okay, great. Let's see. Okay, so I basically looked at the survey and just put it in Claude and asked it to pick uh, the topic which would be more interesting. So it chose that the topic that I sent out in the email. And I haven't done any research on that topic. And if you ask me right now, I also don't remember what the tool is about actually, or what it does. So we're gonna that's the whole point, right? So we're gonna figure it out together, scope it out together using Claude, and we're gonna ask it to build an MVP for us. Yeah, that's basically the interesting part. So yeah, before we begin, has anyone actually built any product with AI at the moment? Maybe with Lovable or Cloud Code or Codex, um, some MVP or anything. If you have any experience, maybe you can just indicate. That would be cool to know. And another thing is you can also use Codex for this. So the workflow that I use works 100% with Codex too. Just that I prefer to use Cloud Code for most of the work that I do. Yeah. The database is Torso. So Torso, I'm going to just share the link there. So Torso is the cloud SQLite database. So you can sign up for that. Okay, so I'm going to try to see what's that topic again. Okay. Okay, so let's start. So usually when I want to start building any application, let's say I have an idea like the one that we have here, competitor intelligence board. Um, what I would do is I would go on Cloud Code. Usually I would do it on the web app, um, or sometimes I can also do it on the command line here. But my first take is to go on the web app, create a project for it. So usually they have, if you go on Cloud, new, you can see here to create a project. So what I do is basically I would create a project for it and start having a discussion about that topic with it, and we'll get to a certain point, and then I will get some specification out of that, and I could now bring it to ID or whatever tool that I'm using to develop and start developing. So I was mostly using this um, for a very long time. I think for 2 years, I was using this, or also ChatGPT has also a project, so I use both. Um, but now what I do mostly is I can now do everything directly on the CLI, so I don't have to start from here anymore. Okay. So yeah, so this is a CLI. So if you're not a programmer or you're not used to computer, so it's just an interface that allows you to run some command on your computer. And there are various type of CLI that you could use. I prefer, or I use this one. It's called WAP. It's I use it because it's really nice and it has all AI feature built into it directly. So I could also just use the inbuilt Claude or Codex or whatever I want to use directly without having a separate subscription. So I could do that directly from here. Okay, so what's the first thing that I will do? I want to create a directory on my computer. So I have like a base directory where I put all my code stuff. It's called code. So I'm going to make a new directory. I'm just going to call this, oh, what's it called? Competitor Intelligence, CI2. Okay. So I have the directory is empty. There's nothing in there. So you can see there's nothing in there. Um, And once you've installed Claude Code or Codex, so you can also use Codex, as I said earlier. Once you install that, it will put a small tool on your computer, which is called Claude. And I could start Claude in this directory. So this is a new directory. So it already has access to the entire code directory. That's why it didn't prompt me. Usually it's going to ask you to allow it to, if you want to allow it to modify files or whatever in this directory. Okay, cool. So the next thing that I want to do here is, okay, I have this idea, and as I said, I don't know who suggested this, but and I also don't know in depth what you want to build. So if you're here, maybe you can share, or I could just ask Claude too, right? So we could ask Claude and say, okay, I have an idea for this kind of product that I want to build. What can you tell me about this? And we can ask it to basically give us some idea. So yeah, so maybe that's a way that we can go about it. So I'm gonna just say, hey, I want to, yeah, it's called competitor intelligence to, oh, let's say bot. Okay, here.
So we can throw something in if we want to, or
Yeah, if you have a, yeah, if you have
if,
a picture or something, yes, you can
yeah.
try.
So I mean, if it's a bot, I think I would like to see the a chat interface with our intelligence board.
Okay, so you mean like a chat interface on the intelligence bot, is it?
Yeah, like I would like to ask questions to the intelligence board.
Oh, okay, got it, got it. So like a co-pilot on the
Yeah.
yeah, okay, good. Okay, so let's start it like this, and as we go on, we'll ask it to. Uh, okay, so maybe before that, I would say this, right? So I have been using AI for a very long time now. I think it should be around 3 or 4 years, and that I've really started using it a lot. And I hardly code personally, and the biggest the biggest for me the biggest roadblock is usually when you start building stuff and after some time it's forget about the stuff that you're building and it forget about like the patterns that you're using to build that specific product and start doing all sort of different stuff and even trying to repeat the stuff that has already been added to the project. So over time this was a really big bottleneck for me. So I would spend a lot of time trying to read through the code, trying to understand what it is doing, and this was really taking a lot of time. And I would say without that, the performance gain would be at least 60%. But with that, it was around 20 to 30% until like a year ago when I found like a new way to make it really build software the way as a software engineer you will go about building a software product. And basically that's what really changed the whole flow for me. It takes more time using this method, but you get better results and you spend less time, trying to push it around here and there to get stuff done.
Can you repeat that once more? What was the key insight?
Yeah, so the key inside is basically making it build software. So like using some skills to make it build software the way a software engineer would actually build a software, which is mostly not about writing code. Software engineering is mostly not about writing code. It's about like the designing the system, how the system should operate, and code is just one part of it.
Okay, so you mean the skills that you can implement in Claude, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
To make it really good at doing this stuff. Yeah. Okay, so let's continue. This should. Okay, so but I have no idea what intelligence vault will look like. Can you help? Wait, so okay, so it's basically coming up with some things that we can have there. Okay, so maybe we can also together come up with like answers for like some of these questions. If you have some idea and about stuff that should be in there, but because we're doing this live, so I would want us to try to like reduce the scope to things that it can do within 1 to 2 hours, so that we don't take much time and also hitting like the rate limit on thought usage. So we're gonna like try to narrow it down. So let's see here. Okay, so it's asking really good questions. Okay, how many competitors are you tracking? Okay, let's say we're gonna give some answers. What industry or domain, the data source, audience, and all of that. Okay. So if you have some ideas, you can tell me, but I'm just gonna say I don't really know. Um, yeah, that's also another thing, right? So the something that's also very important is that you have to be like a if you are a domain expert in the thing that you're trying to build, it's you would get better result compared to someone that doesn't know what they're trying to do. So if you already know have a high level idea of what you're trying to do, then your result would always be better than someone who doesn't know. So I'm just gonna say one thing though is needed to have a co-pilot. So let's say let's use Next.js or something simpler with SQLite and also okay. So audience, any idea for the audience? Let's say yeah. So I could also say you decide, and the okay, so I just dump whatever I'm thinking in there. It's actually really intelligent enough to figure out what I'm trying to say. Okay, so yeah, so it's actually trying to, start doing the planning right now, but this is not what I wanted to do. So what I usually do now is to stop it from continuing. Okay, so I would stop it from continuing because I really want to use like a structured way to develop the application. So that brings me to the next thing that we need. So if you go just on Google and search for GSD Claude Code on GitHub, so search for that, and yeah, so you can go on this repository called GSD-build. So it's just get shit done. And this is a really good repository with a lot of skills for how to build software, following the software engineering approach, which is requirement gathering, requirement gathering, planning, implementation, testing, and all of the flow that are really important. So you need to install this locally. So this was one of the reasons why I asked to install Node.js. So if you're coding, you have to install this. This is like a really easy, simple command to install it. If you copy this command and on the CLI, so you just paste it and it will prompt you and you can choose if you want to install it globally or you want to install it for just one specific LLM. So I already have it installed, but I can just do that again. So here you can which argument do you want? So I want all the models of type 12 and I want to install it globally, type 1. Okay, and yeah, so it's basically telling me that I have it existing, so I want to keep what I have existing. So I'm gonna type 1, also insert JS. Okay, so yeah, I haven't used this before actually, but maybe it's good to also install this SDK. Yeah, and that's it. So once you install this, it will depend on what options that you have choose. So I choose all the different AI agents that are available. So it would now make it possible for me to use this tool within Claude on even also Codex. So if you have Codex, you can also use the tool. So the difference in Codex is I think you start with like a dollar sign and say GSD, and then it will give you all the various GSD options. And usually what you want to do is to map your project. So the first thing that you will do is to so let me go back to Claude. And for Claude, it's a slash, it's a GSD map code base. And if you have an existing project, this will basically map the entire project and get a high level view of what the project is about, what pattern you're using, and all those information. It will just gather it and create a planning a folder, and those information will be there. But this is a brand new folder. There's nothing in here. So if we want to start now, it will be to create a milestone about what we are trying to build. So, but I'm going to ask Claude to do it. So I would say, I want you to use GSD, create a milestone, so I can track everything. Okay, so otherwise, if I just allowed it to do the planning, it will do it fine, execute fine, but the next time, when we were talking about this project, we would have forgotten about, the things that we did before, or how we did it, or what decisions we made together. It would have forgotten. But if it uses GST, then it will remember and kind of like growing with the project. Yeah. Yes. So you want me to exit plan mode? Yes. Okay, so it's saying, do you want me to proceed? Do you want me to proceed? So I'm going to say yes, and after that, I'm going to just cancel it and do something else first. Yeah. So because another very annoying thing is like the prompt is always going to be asking you, do you want me to do this? Do you want me to do that? So that's also very annoying. What I want to do is to once I get to the point where we already know about what we want to build, I don't want to answer any question. I want it to just work autonomously to build the stuff, and I will come back and do the verification. And that's like the interesting part about using GST. Okay, so it's now going to create a project. Okay, so there are no code to map. Okay, and okay, so it's now using a lot of skills to make decisions instead of like what was the default behavior of Claude. And now it's going to ask me about what I really want to build, trying to clarify what are the requirements, which is something that's very essential when you're building software. And from my experience, most of the critical bugs in software usually comes from a lack of clear understanding of what the requirements are. Of course, there are like logic bugs sometimes, but most of the critical bugs usually because the requirements are not clear and the developer just build stuff which he or she thinks is what you want, right? Okay, so it's asking me what when you say co-pilot user can interact with, what kind of things should it answer? Um, okay, so it's giving me two options, and I can say one or I can say both, right? So I'm going to choose both. How many competitors? I'm going to choose three, so to make it faster. And the next one is what kind of competitive updates would user log manually? Okay. Um, Actually, I don't know, but um, I'm just gonna say you decide and then submit. Okay, so it says, I think I understand what you are after, ready to create a project, and I will say yes. So what it does now is create like a planning folder, and whatever it's doing now, it's gonna be in that planning folder. So we can keep track of what are the code changes, what are the decisions that were made, and all those kind of things. So these days I don't go and start reading all this document that it's creating, which is also one thing that I don't like because it create few documents. And I don't read it anymore. I used to, but now I have certain level of confidence, and because I don't, in most cases, I would not directly release what it is building. So I would do testing by myself, and I'm also not so interested now about like the code style because we agreed, for example, in the beginning how it's going to go about it. And yeah, so now it's asking, how do you want to work? YOLO, like auto approve, just execute. Yes. So this is like something that I really like. That once the requirements are clear, just go ahead and build your stuff while I drink my coffee or do other stuff. So I'm gonna say yes. And okay, how finally should scope be sliced? Okay. So yeah, so this is also something that's very important. So depending on how you work, like usually at my workplace we do sprint, and sprint is usually like 2 weeks. So that's 10 days. And in that 10 days, you would have like, what some commitment that you make and the things that you want to build in that 10 days. And out of that 10 days, maybe 5 or 6 days, you usually like the useful days that you can do stuff. And what is asking here is that how do we want to break down the task? So if you want to, make it go with speed, you can just choose the first option, which it's going to have a few phases and do more stuff. Or you can choose a standard, which is like having, balance size 5 to 8 phases, or 3 to 5 plans. So I would choose this because this is a really small project that we're doing. And next option is like run plan in parallel. Yes, I always like this. And okay, and then here's asking if we want to track what so if we go back to the folder here, so, you can see that it already added a planning folder. Let's see. And here it has created this project.md, which describe what it's trying to build. As I said, I don't really read this nowadays, but usually you can go through and see if there are some errors here or some things that you want to correct. You can um, run through that and make those corrections. And the question that it's asking now is if we want to save this to version control. So version control is like when we keep track of all changes that we make to a file so that we can go back to a previous state. If there was a mistake or something else happens, we can always roll back to a previous state of that file. So I'm going to say yes, and then I'm going to submit that. Okay, yeah. So it's asking research before planning each phase. And yeah, so this is also very important. Like if you really building a serious application, you're not just trying to play around, always have to do like research because during the research phase, it's going to find out like what are the trade-offs that you can make, what are the latest tools that can be used, are there any blockers or all those sort of things would be discovered during the planning phase. So this is very important. Okay, so verified plans will be archived, will achieve their goal. Yes, so it also say so it also has like an agent which is going to verify that the plan that we made was actually achieved at the end of the day, right? So we set a goal and we make a plan, and in the end there will be an agent to also verify that we actually achieve what we set out to. So I'm going to choose yes. Yeah, so for most of this, it's just safe to choose yes, right? So, and this is also very important to control cost. So here you can choose like how it's going to operate. So the balanced mode is using Sonnet for most of the agentic work, which is very good. Sonnet is cheap and it would use Opus for 4.6 for the more complex stuff like planning and gathering the requirement and looking for all those kind of blockers would be done using Opus. But for the main execution, writing the code, it would use like a less expensive agent for that. So, but if you want quality, everything which is really expensive, then you can choose Opus, and that would naturally give you better output. But I think the balance is really good because you use Opus to do the research um, and do the roadmap planning. And then once you have those details, writing the code is not the hard part, right? Once you have all those details and everything correctly spread out, writing the code is the more easier part. Yeah. Hey, so now it's going to set up the files and for all the permissions that we've granted. Um, and then so research the domain ecosystem before defining requirement. Yes, so this is also important. Like I don't know anything about this intelligence competitors, but so I wanted to also do that research. Okay, so and now it is creating that research folder inside of the planning folder. Okay, so there's still nothing in there right now, but that's where we're going to put like all the research stuff. And here you can see that it's spanning four researchers in parallel. One is going to be researching about the stack, technology stack that we're choosing, the feature research, architecture, and pitfalls. So each of these agents will do the research, and basically in the end, it will synthesize them and come up with one document for us. So I'm just gonna say stop asking me, just continue. Okay, yeah, so this is like really annoying, so I'm going to stop it. And if you go back to the website here, there is like a small command that you can copy, which is like skip dangerously skip permissions. And this basically would give Claude some kind of autonomy. Um, it is safe for me to do because it is working like in an empty folder, and I want it to do research so it can go up on and do all this kind of stuff. So I'm gonna just say no. Um, so I'm gonna stop that, read it, and then I'm gonna start it again with this command. And now I could say GST. progress. And this will basically make it to look through all of the files again and then tell me where we stopped and um and then we can continue from there. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to say okay, so it didn't find any roadmap. Project MD exists. Okay, so we're in research phase. Please continue. Okay, so yeah. So I kind of stopped it in the wrong place because it hasn't really done any research at that time or created any file, but yeah, it can still pick it up from there. Okay, so it's still going through like the four areas, and now we have like four agents uh that are doing the research. And yeah, so it's just going to be waiting for those agents to finish what they're doing. So yeah, as I said initially, like it takes more time in the beginning to do all of this, to have a clear plan of what you want to build and what are the features, what are the technologies and the pitfalls and all of that. This is actually now where I spend most of my time trying to figure this out. And once you figure this out, then it can build everything on its own. Like, and you can go like most of the time I leave my computer on and overnight it will build stuff and just update me on Telegram on the status of what it is doing, even when I'm not at home. But this part I have to do first. Yeah. So I could also do something like this. By the way, what is the status? And this is going to check what are the agents working on, and then uh, give me like some update. So usually in between tasks, if you don't know what's going on, you can always do this to find out. Yeah, Nessin, go on.
I'm just trying to follow your guide. I just didn't map the GST, but it's just mine didn't came with the risk and the tech. Oh, okay, your skills is still running.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about the final files that I don't have the file calling risks, and I'm supposed
Oh,
to have.
okay. Actually, I never check what are the final files on personally, but I think there would be some files in the planning folder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I already have the roadmap, the state, the requirements.
Yep.
The requirement seems interesting because it gets an ID, just like tasks.
Yes.
And the project itself seems pretty good.
Yeah. I think this is really, really good. As you said, those each requirement has a number, and they have like what needs to be done before you go to the next phase, and and basically the way that you would build software normally. Okay, so I'm still waiting. So the agents are running, and now I think one of the agents has completed a task. Yeah, the thing that I like most is basically just bypass all the permissions and allow it to do its thing. Um, Usually, if the risk is low, I would do this, yes. And and for my software tools, if I am building like a really if I'm building a feature, a new feature, I would not start with this. I would make sure that I do all the get to the roadmap first. And once I have the roadmap and everything, then I can allow it to just YOLO and do its stuff there. Hey,
I'm sorry, can I ask you another thing?
yep.
While you are waiting for getting things done, you usually work with other projects simultaneously, or it's just wait, how do you usually do that?
No, sorry, what was the first part of the question?
While we are waiting for the planning and for getting things done, just like we are right now, do you
Mhm.
usually work with other projects in your daily, or just with the computer and
Yeah, so it depends on the time. So and it also depends on how much usage I have left. So because for Claude it is based on the subscription. I have like the max subscription. So I would check what is my usage and when is going to be the next reset, right? So now I'm at
uh,
23%, and for the week I'm at 3%, and next reset is at 11 p.m. If whatever I'm doing here is really important, then I would not start another task because that would be part of the usage. Or I also have Codex, and if I want something else, I could use Codex. And even I think yesterday or 2 days ago, Google also released like a new model, and I was um, trying to set it up locally to use it, and I found like a way to use it for free. And so these are the kind of stuff that I could use to, while away time or do another task. But for cloud, it depends on the usage, where I am at the usage. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that's why I said it's kind of boring because then you have to wait for it to do like, all this stuff. And when it's
Yeah,
actually,
but we always should think that it will be faster than us.
yeah, yeah, regardless, yes, it will be. Yeah. But it takes some time to get used to, right? Because usually you want to, be driving stuff and, or you're copying code and doing all of that. But now you just allow it to do stuff. Okay, so now we have most of those documents here. So architecture. So a high level architecture of the application, which Cloud is recommending. Excuse me. And the database layer, the routing layer, and basically everything that's we're gonna build, right? So including the folder structure, database schemas. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff here that these days I don't read them anymore, but they're really good stuff. That if you understand how to design software, then it's really interesting to always look at this, especially in the beginning, if you want to drive the direction of the product. So you need to have some level of understanding of what it's trying to do here. And this one is domain. Yeah. Okay, I'm not gonna read all of these, but yeah, I'm sure it's coming up with like some details about like this specific app. Which is really good. Okay, and also domain specific pitfalls here. Data decay.
And it's something like pretty interesting because as we are doing almost the same thing and almost the same prompts, it's just an intelligence. So everyone will have a different
Okay.
approaches and different answers, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so now it's done with the research, and here we have some details. Um, competitor intelligence board, progress 0 of 4, roadmap created. So we can also see the roadmap. Where is it? So this is the roadmap. And here, if you can read through that roadmap, see for each phase, there's a specific goal, and there is dependency if it depends on the previous phase, and then the requirements, numbers that are defined, and the success criteria. So everything's basically defined here. And this is why this is so important is because like if you have everything here, it means that you don't have to build it at once, right? So you can if you want to spend time, you want it to spend time on phase one and get it correctly, so you can spend more time on each phase. You don't have to rush through it because you have everything planned out. Sorry. Okay, so there are other files here, requirements and the states, which you can also look at. And the next step now is usually to discuss about each phase. So if we're in the phase one, we want to discuss about it. So we also do the same thing, GSD discuss phase and put the phase number. And so, okay, let's talk about phase one. There's also option to skip that completely. So you can do plan the phase. And this is useful if you already know, like, you have all the details about what you want to build. Um, you don't have to discuss again. You can just skip that and go directly to plan. So, but let's ask it to do the discuss phase. Yeah, so usually this also would help me to understand, what we are building and what are the decisions that were made. Okay, so we already have 4 folders in the phases directory. And as we discussed, I think, or plan the phases, there will be entries created in each of these to keep track of it. Okay, so here it says this is primarily about infrastructure, but there are a few decisions here that would be important. So basically, yeah, this is also something really good because you want to have some input to say, okay, do I want this or do I don't want this? And those decisions can be made here. So database schema design, yes. So let's talk about that. So I'll just press enter to select the things that I would like to talk about. ID strategy, talk about it. Seed data content, talk about that. Project tooling and structure. Yes, talk about it. Okay, so we want to talk about everything. So like that. Okay, so should your own product be stored as a pseudo competitor record? This simplify the feature metrics, same data. Yeah, I would just choose yes. And the update category should be available when logging. Yeah, I'm just going to choose the recommended. I'm doing this so that I would see like the process, but um, I'm going to always choose what it is recommending. Okay, so the update should have impact rating. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so yeah, if you want to get have more questions, you can say yes, more questions, or we can go to the next area that we want to discuss about. So I'm going to do that. Okay, test IDs with CUID recommended, non-sequential. Okay, yeah, so this is basically like what is the unique identifier for each record that you will create? So the first one is the UUID or integer. So we just use UUID, white disable but long and ugly in URL. So let's use the first one. Yeah. So you can see like the good thing is also behind each of the options, it's like telling you why you should choose which options. So let's go to the next. Okay, so the seed data, because when we create this app, initially there will be no data. So it would be nice to have some data to show a nice dashboard. So we're gonna say seed as if your project management tool, blah blah blah. I'm just saying yes, that makes sense to me. Three competitor plus us, yes. Okay, let's go to the next area. Yeah, and also if you're tired of like, you feel that okay, yeah, I think I don't want to continue writing all of this, then you could just ask it like, hey, do you think you can plan this out and give me like a summary? Um, just using your best, best effort to make the right decisions. And that will also be another way. So let's see, PNPN recommended. Okay, yeah. So these are usually the areas where I'm more careful because I usually don't want to install stuff on my computer. For that reason, I always use like a Docker, which is kind of give you isolated computers and yeah, and basically install stuff on those computers so they are not on your main computer. And if you want to throw them away, you can just delete it easily. But yeah, I think we can do PNPM, which I never installed before. Okay. LinkedIn is a way to find out errors in your code. So these are also things that we can skip, but it's good to have it set up. Okay, so use the SaaS for the convention in next year. Okay, yeah. So this is okay. Do you want to follow the convention, how people usually build app using this framework? I'll say yes. Shared CDN is like a UI library to build really nice UIs. Um, so this is where, yeah, I'm usually careful with installing a lot of stuff on my computer, but I would say I could say Claude, you decide. That's also an option, but um, I've seen a lot of people talking about Shade CDN everywhere, so it's really a good library, so we can use it. Um, Personally, I don't use it in my project because I try to keep my project really lean and using very less dependencies. Yeah. Okay, so say I'm ready for contest and then go. Now it's going to create a contest file. So it has created a discourse and this contains questions and the answers. Now we have also the contest where we define the boundaries and all the implementation decisions that we've made now. And it's basically capturing everything down so that when the agent start working on it, it knows exactly what it should do, and that would also reduce like the number of errors that the agent make, because yes, there will be like errors sometimes, but these days I also see that it's making like really few errors, especially when you go with GSD where things are clearly defined. There might be errors with or issues with installing software, but usually the code part is usually very smooth. So next phase is now to do the planning. So try to paste that. And here I would just keep an eye again on my usage. See that 29%. So I think we can. Yeah, so if the credit is expired, then we'll just switch over to Codex and use that to complete it. Okay, so now it's using the context from phase one to go about it. And basically for the architecture, it is telling me that I don't have any UI specification. I don't need any UI specification because this is basically laying the foundation for the project. So we don't need to discuss about how the UI should look. Whereas that's where you can actually tell it, okay, you know, if you see most of the vibe coded app usually look the same. Um, this is where you can define like, your design tokens and basically tell it to, come up with a UI specification. So do we say skip research? And here I'm going to say, I'm going to chat about it and say, hey, um, do we really need research? And then ask for the pros and cons. Because I think we did research before, so let's see. Skip research. We already have 5 details files. Yeah, and now it's telling me, okay, yeah, we should skip the research that is recommended because it has already enough information to go about building. Yep. So now it's going to go to the next phase, which is creating the plan. So we have the requirements. We have done the research and we have the requirements. And now it's going to do the planning, to plan it out on how this should be implemented. And then the last phase will be the actual implementation phase. So you can see that it's taking time, at least. Usually it will take, you know, some time to really get everything fleshed out. But there is also a quick option. So there is also the option GSD quick, where you don't have to go through all this. So if you want to do something really fast, um, then you can do GSD quick, and then it will create a workflow with quick.md, and that would be like, hey, what task do you want to get done? Um, the flow that we're doing now is more appropriate when you're actually building an actual software. But if you want to fix a bug or you want to do something quick, there are other workflow that you can use. And one of those is like the quick workflow. So I'm going to just cancel this and show GSD. We have, let's see what we have there. So we can do GSD app and let's see what comes out from there. Okay, and basically this is just telling you the same thing that you can read from the GitHub repo, how to use it, and the different command that you can use for different stuff. And for debugging, for example, you can do GSD debug if you want to find a bug in your code. And yeah, so there are a lot of tools that comes with this, like quality and shipping, and other utilities like for doing cleanup. Yeah. So you can always look for what is more appropriate for the kind of task that you doing at the moment. But for project, it's always better to go through this long flow, at least to define everything in the beginning, and because that would prevent back and forth later. Yeah, so it's better to do this once and for all. Yeah, but I know it's boring and sitting down waiting for you to do stuff. Yeah. Okay, so now we have O1 plan, and the type is execute, and this doesn't depend on any other task, and these are the files that it's gonna create for this plan. And then define the things that must be true. And And basically, when you hand this over to the agent, it knows exactly what needs to be done, and it will just follow the plan exactly, and things will be a lot easier. It's the same thing, like handing over like a high level specification. If you are like a senior engineer, you do the high level specification, and you just hand it over to like a junior to write the code. So this is exactly what is going on here. So I could also do, by the way, in between and say, hey, are we following best practices? And say, please check. Okay, so the plans are ready right now, and based on what I can see from the conversation, phase one looks solid and follow best practices. Well, here's my assessment. Minor things to watch during execution, not blockers. So I can also just copy this and so it's kind of like a review. And yeah, I can copy this and also paste to Claude and say, okay, hey, because the between agents, it's not executing anything, and this conversation is just like in between what's going on. Or we can just execute. So let's say GSD executes phase one. And maybe before we do that, we could say autonomous. Let me just show this. So this is basically a shortcut. If you don't want to sit down and and answer questions or click and do all of that, you can at this point just say, okay, do stuff autonomously on your own, and it will go with all the plans and all the phases that are there. Discuss, plan, execute, and do everything on its own. So that's also very useful. Um, at least when you have all the foundations okay and everything in the way that you want it, then you can be more flexible to use those um, autonomous tool. So now it's going to start writing the actual code. Yeah, and this is also like the more boring part. So if you have something to talk about, we can talk about it. Have questions or anything, because now it's going to be writing codes. Should not be too long, but yeah, but it's also boring because I'm gonna just sit down and start looking. Yeah. So at this foundation stage where it's trying to install stuff, there might be some issues. So I would just wait and resolve that. If there's like any issues with installing those dependencies, then it will be good to help resolve those. Otherwise, it can already do everything on its own now. Okay, so I think as per when do we finish the session? Yeah, if I think once we finish this first part of it, then if you want to drop, that will also be fine because then it's, as I said, it's like really gonna be more boring except we're discussing, which is why I wanted to use Zoom. Otherwise, it will be like, okay, just sitting down there and looking. But yeah, I think if we have like the first phase done, I think the first four phase done, that could be in the next 30 minutes. Probably could be able to do that on its own. And then, yeah, I think to answer you, maybe 30 minutes would be 30 minutes from now, we should have something. We can also cut off some of the scope too. Yeah. Okay, so it looks like it's already actually have some stuff. Wave one in progress. Okay, so here it told me the agent had an error. The agent would likely need to retry or undo that when it continues. Okay, yeah, so this is also like a way to know what's going on. There's like, some issues. Okay, so we're at 40%. Okay, so yeah, so it's actually created a lot of the files already, but they're not yet on locally. So let's ask again. What's the result? Okay, yeah. Okay, so yeah, so he is basically just explaining what was the issue and reassuring me that the maid agent would take care of it. So yeah, can relax. Let's see. Oh, I don't. I see the price. Let's see. If I see the source code. Okay, so the source code are now here. Looks like it has finished. Okay, so it has actually completed like the first wave, which is just creating the actual project structure and all the dependencies that we need. So that's now there. We'll see if it's able to run without any issues, but now we have like a basic application, the layout, and then pages. Okay, good. Button. So execute plan 0102. Yeah, so it's basically going to go through all those plans. And for the first one, here's a summary of everything that was done and the decisions that was made. So initially, I think it was the requirement said 15, but it installed the latest one, which is 16. So yeah, that's one of the decisions, and it's basically documenting every decision that is made and everything. So you have like, some idea of what it's actually doing, right? And now it's on O2, which is this. What is O2 about? It's about okay, so putting those dummy data so we can see the dashboard and everything from the beginning. So that's what it's doing now. So, yeah. Yeah, so it's really fast once you have all the plans and everything down. Like writing the actual code is really fast. Um, the difference now it's basically it's not just making up stuff on the fly. It's actually working with the plan. So let's see on where the app should run. So go package.json. So that should be on. Okay, it's not specifying here. npm run dev. So we can actually try to run it. So let's open the other one. And then it's npm run dev. Oh, let's see. Yeah, we can do this manually, or we can also just wait for it to run everything on its own, and we just verify on the browser. So okay, so now it's verifying what it has done and comparing that against the goal to see if we actually everything was achieved. And yeah, there might still be some errors, but it will verify and see that it's actually follow the plan. Yeah, so I think what we can do now is once it's we have like the basic part, then we could probably skip to like having it push it to GitHub and deploying it to Vercel and setting up like the Turso database as a next step, just so we can wrap those up. And when we make changes subsequently, we just push to GitHub and it will be auto deployed by Vercel. Yes, good. Paste the summary. Yep. I think in the next 1 minute or so, it should finish this phase. And then let's open the browser. Okay, so now it's updating the project file. Okay, so what was validated in phase one, just marking those, and now the phase is marked as completed. Okay, so yeah, so if it did everything correctly, so we should now be able to like see the app. So I'm going to say, how can I run the app locally to verify it works? Okay, so npm. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is be in the directory and run this. We can also ask it to do all of this, but I would just do it, make it fast. So it's already done actually. So and then we need to put those seed into the database, and then we got an error. Now I'm going to pass this back to it and just say error on seed. Okay, so database env, is it being loaded? Okay, so because we have to create an environment file, okay, so it has created it now and added the file, okay. Database URL. And since, okay, this is for Turso and for local, this is it. Okay, good. Okay, so the problem was we didn't have that file locally, but now let's continue and see. We got another error. And just say I am getting the same error. Can you run the seed command and fix everything? Yeah, so usually the installing tools is usually like the difficult part. So once you get parts like the installing software tools, then it's more easier. So it's working now. DB verify, so all good. What happened there? Let's run this here. DB verify. Okay, so this looks good. But there is another problem, so it's gonna try to solve that. So everything works now. Are you sure? No. Okay, so now I can run this again, but you already did. Seed. And let's just try to run the app directly and see. Okay, so now we can see what is actually there. Okay, so the app is opening, but I don't see anything. So let's bring that back. And I would just take a screenshot of what I see here and then pass it over to it. Say app is running, but I can't see any data. Okay, so that is expected. Phase one is just the data layer. Okay. Oh, now I see. So it didn't actually implement like displaying the data yet, but basically just see the database. So data is there. You can verify with this. Display UI is not done yet. So let's quickly do like the display UI. Okay. Um, do we need any discussion for the UI? I want this done quickly. Okay, so I would just say, can you run the remaining phases autonomously? Okay, so now it's gonna try to do just run through all of the remaining stuff that are there. Um, it's also coming up with like a brand UI, but I think we don't have this yet. Maybe it's gonna create it. So let's see. What folder is that? References. I don't see it there. Yeah, so that's exactly what you do if you don't want to, you want it to just start doing the stuff which is already planned by itself, or plan new stuff, do research and everything. Now we just want to see an actual UI because so we can see if what it has done makes sense or not. And so what it's doing now, it's doing the research and coming up with some questions and some recommendations and just asking me in the end if I accept all the recommendation. And if I say yes, then it's gonna just continue to build all the remaining stuff. So I'll just accept that. Okay, so the next question, yeah, I'm just gonna accept everything. So this is usually where you would, make decisions about colors, about how where things should be positioned and all that. But because of time, I'm just gonna let it run and do the stuff. Yeah. Okay, so all decisions accepted. Now it's gonna write those into the contest. And we probably have another 10 to 20 minutes of this round. So let's see if it can actually estimate. Leave me an estimate. Um, how much time is needed to complete? uh, Usually it's really bad at giving estimates, so it could tell you like 2 weeks or something. But okay, 25 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes. Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah. So it's phase one foundation took roughly 15 to 20 minutes. And now the remaining phase is probably roughly 60 to 90 minutes. Yeah, but I think it will be actually faster because biggest variable is whether verification passes on the first try or need gap closure cycle, which can add 10 to 15 minutes here. Yeah, so this is also something very important that it does. The first time, some of the agent might not, meet all the requirements that were defined. In that case, there's also an option to complete the gap. So I think if you look at the commands here, there would be something to do with gap. Yeah, so this GST plan milestone gaps. This would basically um, plan how to fix all the gaps from the phases. Um, if the verifier discover that, okay, this agent did not complete the task, it will note that down as a gap, and you can then um, spin up another agent to actually close that gap. Okay, so phase two is the dashboard. So we probably could see that coming up anytime soon here. Okay, so let me just spend some time looking at some of the files, which is something I usually don't do, but phase two. Yeah. So phase four is about okay. So yeah, so you can see here that it's skipping like the UI because I mentioned that we need to move fast. Um, But usually it should create also like a UI specification, which is something that I do usually, because if you don't do that, most of the time the app would just be like, like you can easily tell that the app was built by AI or something because of the colors that it would choose and the design style that it would choose. So it's always good to do like the UI spec. And maybe I could also say here, can you make sure app does not look like a vibe coded app? Think clean design, like, and then you can give some examples, like um really good designs, simple designs would be, for example, like Vercel.com. They have really simple and cool design. Um, yeah, if you go to like the home, let me just open incognito. So yeah, so like yeah, really cool and minimal design. Um, so you can actually, pass along these kind of suggestions and it'll basically follow this kind of, in the UI specification, it will design like this. But now I don't want to give more instructions because that will take more time. Okay. So, and another thing is the context. So you always pay attention to like the context here. The bigger it gets, the more token it will start using. So usually my baseline is at 35%. I would clear the contest and it can still continue doing everything that it does because it's using GSD, so it can pick up from where it stopped before. But it's always good to do that so that you free up space in the contest and in the same way you'll be saving token. Okay, so it started creating. Yeah, so probably around 10 to 15 minutes. Now it's already in the execution phase. So maybe I'm going to quickly just try to see if I can still create a Turso database. The database session has expired. Let's reload. And let's see if I can create a new one. So it's called the Competitor Intelligence 2 default group. Database created. Okay, so yeah, what we need, I think, is just this URL. And let's say I'm also going to quickly just create a project on Vercel. So let's go there and new project. So usually we can import it directly from GitHub here, but we don't have this push to GitHub yet. So um, I can just do that quickly. So we have GitHub, create a new project, new repository, CI2, and I'm just going to make it public. So create that and take this. Yeah, so actually Claude can also do this, but because of time, so I would just try and do this on my own. Mm, Okay, so it looks like it's actually done, so I can ask it to actually do it. So you can see. Yeah, so nowadays I'm really lazy, so can let me do this myself. Don't be lazy, Terry. And okay, we are already on the main branch, so that's fine. We will say get status. Okay. Okay, so I think we're good to push that now. Let's just push it. Okay, so we should have the code here now. Yeah. And then on Vercel, we can choose this repository. So I'm going to say import this. And it's a Next.js project. It's on the root. And I think here we need to add the database URL as an environment variable. So where is that again? So this one. So I'm going to add it as the value here. And I think here we can find what is the name of that environment variable. So here. So production database URL will be this one. Yeah, so usually this is like secret because I'm not doing anything with this, so I could just allow you to see it, but usually these will be like secret that you don't want to share with anyone. So you put them as environment variable as a way to safeguard it because every other thing on the website could be script. So you want to keep the secret. Yeah, this probably would fail, but yeah, I'm just gonna run it anyway. Then, and then we'll ask Claude to resolve all any issues. So build settings, we could have added here like those seeding phase, like I think this is a paid plan maybe. Command front-end framework for compiling your code. Are these free? I don't think so. They're disabled. Okay. Okay, so it was deployed, but it cannot run, I think, because the database, there's nothing in the database yet. So we're gonna yeah, I don't know if I want to do this, but it's also something that you can do to make Claude um learn how to use to do stuff with Vercel, Claude, Cursor, Codex. Yes, no harm in having this. Good. Yep. Yep. So the skis are really helpful for teaching the agent how to do stuff that it could do, but it will take more time or more kind of like try and error way. But with the skis, it can be more focused to solve those problems. So let's see. Okay, so now we have something on our dashboard locally. Um, Here you can already see your competitor landscape at a glance, and you can see the competitors that it added here. Um, yeah, personally, I don't know how this works right now, but yeah, let's see. View. Okay, the page was not found, so maybe those pages are not yet built. We can see some of them are still coming soon, the metrics and the chart. So competitor is also not built, but the dashboard is done, and we can see this data here. So which competitor is this? Is it using correct URL? Passforge.com. Okay, so yeah, so it's completed with one. Now it's on the sidebar, dashboard with competitor cards. These are all completed. We can now with two can now build the forms. So yeah, so we tried to do something just now and it didn't work. So that's probably what it's building now with two. So create, edit, and delete with a modal. Okay, this is good actually. And meanwhile, I can ask another agent, how can I deploy, migrate the database? So let's do that here. Um, so I say I deploy to Vercel, but the app won't run. I have added the production DB URL to EMV on Vercel, but I think the database is empty or there is a different name. Is the seeding automatic? And here I can also just share that database URL with it. So let's come here and grab it. Oh, do I need a token? Create a token. Okay, so all done. Verify phase 2. So phase 2 is complete. 10/10. So do you want me to run schema push for you? You just need to provide the Vercel plugin collects blah blah blah. Make sure you do that. Verify. Yeah, so let's see what it's saying here. Because with database, you want to be careful so it doesn't delete all your data. So um, no table there. Push the schema. Okay, see the database. Okay. Also share a prompt test to improve blah blah blah. What's I plugin collects? No thanks. So I need to create a token for it. So expires, read write. Yeah, so this is also usually things that should be confidential because anyone that has this token can delete everything from your database essentially. Yeah, but this I don't care. So token is this, and then I could say please run the migration. Okay, so let's hope that it'll be able to do that. And now I can verify the UI work that was done. So there are 3 errors here. Base UI components. So I can always just copy this. And so what did it say? Oh, so it's actually trying to continue to the next phase of the work. Let's see, do we have anything here? Okay, so now this is working, but there are still some errors. 3 updates. And we have the forms here, like 2 categories, import. Let's see, can we update it? Does it work? Title, test, and update. Okay, so I don't know if that worked, but didn't get any feedback and the data went back to the previous. So I assume there are some errors there that needs to be fixed. So, okay, but okay, so it showed here for test. So that was successful. Um, can we edit it? Yes. Okay, so yeah, this looks nice actually. So and there's also a button here to add a new competitor manually. And yeah, okay, I'm going to accept all of this so it continues. And then I will go to the other agent. And here it said it has done both step. Okay, pushed, now seeding, done both stepped, push all 5 tables created. If I say blah 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 should work. Okay, so let's push the changes and see if it works. First, I will check what's the status. Git push. And let's see if Vercel is redeploying. Now, let's go back and see. What was the project? CI2. Okay, so it's building now from the push that we just did. And we can also see the logs and see if it's gonna work or not. So let's see. So it says it's ready, and let's see. You can visit. Okay, so page load errors. So we can see on Vercel logs. Okay, so there are some database related error here, fail to query name website. So I can just copy this and come again to the terminal and just paste it there. You need to share your. Okay, so yeah, so like this is just a warning here that I shared those credentials. I should delete them, which I'm going to, which I might do or not do because there's really nothing there. It's just this demo that we're doing. Okay, so oh, so we forgot to add the token to Vercel. So database alt token, we should add it to Vercel too. So that's why. So we go to environment and let's just go back and deploy settings. Where's where's the environment variable? Settings. Okay, where is the Vercel settings usage domain? Okay, so not finding that here. Oh, environments. Should usually be environment variable somewhere here. But I guess I can also just give Claude a token to do that for me. Well, let's see. Why can't I find environment settings on Vercel? Okay, Vercel dashboard, choose your project, setting tab at the top. Which is exactly what okay, so let's start again from here. Choose your project. That is settings moved. Okay, so I'm just going to ask Claude to do it. So take the project ID and then Vercel token. Yeah, so this is not, let's see, settings and so it was authentication. tokens. So I'm gonna create one, CI2, scope should be project, expire after 1 day. Create. Please add the DB auth token. Okay, so set for production preview. So now we can redeploy again. So let's go back. Then back to the project. 32. And then deployment. Create a deployment. Okay. Okay, so where are we with this? Now on metrics layout and interaction. Okay, so let's see, hope that this works now. Yep, so now it works. We can see already the application. And yeah, so we have the competitor dashboard of recent activities on the right. And let's see, do we have all this working? Yes. And okay, so this is the one that is gonna come up. I can just ask first if this is already done, but let's see. So make it bigger. Yeah, so we have it here right now. So going forward now, once we make changes and push those changes, it will once we push it to GitHub, Vercel will deploy it automatically, and then we can just refresh this page. Or let's see if there is the actual URL for this app would be, let's go to overview. So deployment. So this is the main URL. So here we can always see like what are the changes, the new changes and everything here. This is for a specific deployment. So let's close that. Okay, so now phase 3 is being executed. You can see on this terminal is now running phase 3. And then I just want to check, did we already do the slash competitor page? Was it already pushed to the GitHub? Let me see if it works locally, actually. Competitors here. Oh, no, it's not working. It's like a 404. Yeah, so I can make this other agent do all the, you know, the fixes that I want to do on the side. So I could just see. Okay, so right now there is no only okay. Then yeah, we haven't gotten there yet. So what is it? Dashboard sufficient for browsing. So I could just say no worries. Okay, cool. Yeah, so when on local, it is using the local database, and when we push to GitHub, it is using like the remote database, which is hosted by Turso. Okay, so phase 3, let's see where we status. Yeah, so usually like this, I would go out and do other things. I would also ask it to notify me through Telegram, but I didn't set that up now. And then I could chat with it from Telegram to keep doing stuff, or if I needed to come in and check on do manual verification like you saw me doing now, then I would just come in and do that. But yeah. So now it's progress 60% through the milestone. Two of four phases fully completed. Phase 3 partially executed. So yeah, so this is like a also a quick update on what's going on. So there's a couple of errors here. Yeah, so but these are mostly like UI errors, like where things are being placed in React. So they're not really functional issues, but it's good to have this fixed. Yeah, sometimes you could also use I always mostly don't use codecs, but for fixing bug like this, if you want to save on budget, then you can use a different model to do that, which is something that I plan to start doing now, using like free model that I can now run on my Mac to fix like small issues like this, and that would be saving you on cost. Yeah. Okay, so where are we? Okay, phase 3 plan 2. So phase 1 is already done. What was built in phase 1? Dependency graph. Okay. Interactive feature matrix at slash compare with category grouped role, colored score icon, click to edit. Okay. Yeah, so this is like really the things that I really like about it. So you can see what are all the decisions that were made and why those decisions were made. See, were there any issues encountered? No. In this case, user setup required? No. And next phase is also ready, which is good. So I can close this. Okay, so now I think it's almost done with the last task. So saving that now to Git. Okay, so it's not saved that yet. This is for the 3.1. Okay, so it looks like stuff's already saved. Hmm. So it looks like there was an issue saving those changes. Okay, so I'm almost at 86% usage, so I think that it's gonna be enough to wrap up. Yeah. Yeah. So if once this is done, then we finish three phase and it's just remaining like the co-pilot chatting part of it. So hopefully that the credit would not usage would not time out before that is completed. Yeah. Okay, so phase three. So let me chat with this guy here. Here's the progress. And now it's asking about the chat, but I need to verify that the metrics are actually working. Right? So before that, um, okay, so we should have also the competitors. Okay, so there's no index. Okay, so we have to build again. So let's see. Okay, build it. Now, what about dash competitor? Okay, so there's no individual competitor page. Okay, so I'm going to deploy this. Let me just confirm that it's actually there. But I still see a 404. Maybe we have to run it again completely. Okay, so okay, so now we have the compare page here. Okay, I'm gonna so this one is still 404, but this is here. Let's push it first and then allow it to continue building. So git status, it push, and then let it continue building the chat. So it's gonna use Claude for that. Okay, 4.5. and question interface recommended. Okay, so let's allow that continue. And here, see, how do I view competitors? What was planned and something still missing. Why do we have the menu but for okay, so the nav computer, but there are no page for it. Now menu was built in phase 2, but only the detail page was implemented. Computer index listing was never created. Let me check what phase 2 did. Okay. Okay, so there was a gap there. Since the dashboard already shows a competitor list, listing proper standalone page for all competitors. Should this be addressed as part of phase 4? Let me see what is remaining on the credit. So 92%, I think we can actually leave that page and yeah, so redirect to index. Let's just do this for now, but document these as a tab. Okay, so yes. And okay, so now we just created like a to-do. So, and that is basically we need to create that competitor page. So now I could say save your specific changes. No cloud. Attribution. Yeah, cool. So let's do a reload. Okay, so that always comes back to index and the metrics. How does this work actually? So was that already deployed? Yes. So let's reload. Okay, and now we have it here. Project flow use Springboard. Okay, so I don't know how this works, but it looks cool. So did I just, oh, so these are actually closable. Yeah, this is cool. And we can add like stuff here. Let's see, Discord. Okay, and full support. And this is partial, partial, partial. Yeah, that's really cool. Okay, so now we are waiting for the final step. I'm just going to put the missing parts there. I'm going to create one API key on Anthropic for this. And API key, and create a new one. CI to and copy this. Yeah, we can always disable this after this call, but for now, I think it's fine. So, okay, so env, and I'm just going to paste it here. And save it. And then I can ask Claude to add it again to Vercel. Must have lost that key. Can you, let's see if I can locate it this time on Vercel. So let's custom domain preview deployment. Deployment. Yeah, it's usually easy to find the environment variable settings here, but now I can't find it. So this is new. Faster. Okay, so go back to Claude. Can you add this to also env and create a new key for that. Delete the old one. Settings, talking. Current. Try to scope project to 1 day. And get the project ID back. Yeah, so usually I wouldn't do this, but because these are like um okay, so I won't store or use that API key and token. They are now exposed. Okay, yeah, so I can still override this. Um Want me to help with something else? NPS Vase EMV. Okay, so I can do this myself. Let's see. It's good now that Claude is not helping me, but usually I wouldn't do this to like give it sensitive credentials. So. Let's see. Let's say add. Production. Just copy that. Okay, so it finally did it. Okay, good. And can close this. Yeah, so after the demo, I'm going to delete all of this, so nothing to worry about. So phase 4 is now probably almost done. So let's see where we. If one co-pilot in progress, so with two CRA Vercel deployment for final verification. Okay, so we're already done with Vercel deployment. So let's see. I already set up Vercel. Okay, the Visual this, and then push. Set up Vercel config. We already set up the task will mostly just be okay. Okay, so this is the last. We are kind of in the last step. So build error here. So let's copy that. Okay. For the one complete. Okay, so I'm just gonna wait a little bit for it to tell me it's done, and then we can test this again. Or to save time, I can ask the other agent to fix this error. Okay, so missing dependency. Added. Yeah, so last leg. Let's see, did it actually fix it? Let's see. Chat. Okay, so we have the chat interface here. Still some errors here, probably mostly UI errors. Let's see if the chat is actually working. So how does feature coverage compare to competitors? Let's ask a question. Oh, forgot to get check API key. Okay, let me see if I actually saved that in the right place. So did I save it in the right place? Okay, so okay, so everything is done. Now it's just to verify. I'm gonna stop this. Um, so then paste this. That's the error. Is this and oh, looks like okay. So installing AI SDK with legacy parents. Okay, let's just wait for this to finish installing. Let's see what is remaining in my usage. Oh, so now it's 100% use. So it is probably gonna give up soon. Okay. The good thing is we're almost done, so I can finish the other part with codecs. Let's just copy this. Let's try first and see if it works. Okay, so let's restart it. Okay. Maybe that the SDK is not installed. Oh, so the error is actually different. Let's see. Yeah, so it was using the wrong model before. So now it should probably work. Let's see. Still the same. Okay, but I probably need to restart it again. Let's see. Oh, getting this error still. Let's see. And just copy all of this and give to. Okay, so the API works directly. Create it. Okay, so let's stop it and just try again. Okay, now it's working. So yeah, so the formatting is not okay, but yeah, but it works. And now we can actually deploy this. Get status, and then just push it. Yeah, so we basically have the whole thing running. There are a few issues here, but these are mostly really UI issues like buttons and all of that. And I can ask Copilot to fix those. without using anything. Can you fix this? Let's save some tokens here. And this. Yeah, but these are not blockers. They are mostly UI issues. So let's see. Vercel. So deployment. Wow, we got some errors here. Okay, so cannot find set conversation ID. Okay, so this one's, yeah, we're gonna just copy that. Okay, and from here, I think Copilot can solve the other issues that we're having. And after that, I would also ask it to solve this deployment issue. Okay, so those look okay right now. Good. Let's see. Do we still have it? No? Okay, so deployment is failing. Yeah, so it will also fix that. And then I can just commit the changes and push it. Okay, so let's see. Okay, yeah, so this is also something that I don't like about like Copilot. You see, it's just making decision to remove stuff now from the layout, which is something that we didn't talk about. The issue that I asked you to fix is actually different, but it's just going ahead to remove stuff. So the app no longer depend on this phone Google. Verify production is clean. Would you like me to run the following? The manage to CSS errors is only local. Oh. Okay, I don't trust it too much, but let's do it. Because I can discard the changes, so it's not a big deal. Okay, so deployment blocker is fixed. Why did you remove Google font? No changes. Just answer me. CPU was failing, trying to if you deploy blah blah blah. Okay. So commit your changes and push to origin. Just your changes. Okay, so we can close this, no longer needed. Okay, yes. Hello, trigger copilot. What's this? Yes. Okay, so usually the final step for the workflow is to mark the milestone as completed. So I'm just going to allow that run with the deployment and assume that's fine. It works right here now. And I could say GSD. So if we are sure that everything works fine, we can just say complete the milestone or so what happened there? Right. Okay, so yeah, because the credit is really used far already, so I'm gonna say complete milestone. Because usually if I would ask it to do progress and it will check through everything again and try to verify that all the requirements were satisfied um, and then it will verify everything again manually, but now we can just ask it to complete the milestone because we are doing manual verification. And now this is also deployed correctly. So where is that again? So here, we can also see that we can use that chart here. Yeah, so of course we have to do like, improve the UI of the charting interface, but that's what else can you tell me? Yeah, so this is running on the production build now. And great. So so I think we can actually end the session here. I can see that just Hazal is sorry, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Yeah. You're the only one left there. So um thank you for staying until the end. And I hope you had a good time. Yeah. All right.